Well, we're on anyway, so
Hey!
What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining us for the first leg of our Winterclash.
Extravaganza.
Extravaganza, sure.
Yeah.
There we go.
Every time.
We had a Blading Cup one, now we have a Winterclash
Yeah, it's an
one.
extravaganza when we do
version.
this many.
Hell yeah. Well, we don't have much time for this first one, but we are here with the man himself who's in charge and involved for the whole reason we're here today.
Yeah, we don't have much time for this one because he's an extremely busy person.
busy.
Probably the busiest person. I can't even believe we got him to sit down right now.
I know. It's like talking to the president.
Welcome.
Good day. Hello.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome,
Thank you very
Jojo,
much.
Jacobi.
Thank you very much for
Welcome
inviting
to
me.
this show. Thank you for taking time out of your busy ass week to come here. I know you guys been here like all week, right? What day did you get in?
Friday last week.
Friday last week. So you already been here for a minute. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's a ton of a bunch of people who haven't been here yet, because I don't think you know this until you come here, how much is going on here, how many people are involved in, coordinating everything, all the volunteers you have working for you. I want to talk about a little bit of that stuff because there's so much work that goes into this, and it's cool to see people putting this much effort into events like this in our sport. Tell us a little bit, like maybe how Winterclash started in the beginning and what brought it to where it is now.
Yeah. It basically all started like in my hometown Dresden, which is in the east of Germany. We just wanted to get people to come to our town and organize small real street competitions, and then we...
I don't know it started with street. Started with street?
Yeah, no, but it wasn't called Winterclash back then. It was called Re Street Dresden or something like that. I got to turn off my phone. 1 second.
Like we were saying, he's busy.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay.
And flight mode.
Are you blowing up right now?
No, it's okay. So yeah, and from there we just wanted to have people come to our city because no one came. And then a couple of years later, we wanted to do something bigger outside of Dresden, and we went to a small town in northern Germany and called it Winterclash and made it super handmade in, I think, Microsoft Word, like this, just saying the probably most special role event this winter, like with terrible English and everything. And with like pink letters, and then we handed out at other competitions. We went and handed out this like normal paper, probably most special role event this winter, and then sent out a lot of letters actually by post, invitations to all kinds of people, like all the people. I was writing for Roses back then, and I was just got back from a big European tour, so I made a lot of connections and friends. So I sent out like all these invitations to Matthias Silan and all the people, and with terrible English again, hoping that someone would show up, and in the end we had like 300 people showing up. For the first one, that was in 2005. Yeah, the first bigger one. Like we did the small ones in the hometown skate park and the Real Street ones, but it was the first one with an international crowd and learning how to work with someone running a skate park. Got fucked over right away. Was a skateboard dude just fucking us over. The only guy who made money that day was him.
Yeah.
Of course.
So right off the bat.
Yeah, right away. But it was fun because it was the same back then than it's now. Like the most important part for us is the week leading up to it, because it's like still the same tight group of friends. There's some changes here and there, new people coming in, some people having to step back because of jobs. But that's what made Winterclash in the beginning, and what's still the reason that it's still there. It's like still the tight group of people. To have there's the guys from Area 51, Pim, who's running the park now, and Wing. They're like they did the prefab of the ramps and are running the whole place here all year long, and they're helping us here on site.
How is it working with those guys?
It changes. Like it changed every year because the management changed so many times at the skate park, and now for it's the third year in a row that's the same management, and they changed things completely, because it was a pure skate park before, and now Pim, the guy who was running the BMX park next door, he took over the whole park, and he is really fighting for a place where everyone is equal. Like he wants the bladers, the skaters, the BMXers, and the scooter rider all in one building, and everyone should be treated equally. So yeah, that's good, but it's like really complicated for him, because it is like Area 51 has a long history of being a true DIY skateboard park. Like they were in the other building back in the day, and then all the big flip guys came over, and like it was diehard skateboarders, like we know them, and they were fighting hardcore when he took over. Like he was destroying their living room. Like back in the day, you could smoke in the park, you could smoke weed in park. Everyone was getting wasted. There wasn't any schedule really. and that changed completely now, and it's more treated like a proper sports facility because you want the parents to come in, you want to be able to plan more than 1 year ahead, and you need funds from the government, and you only get the funds from the government if you behave with a certain way.
Of course,
Yeah, so he really professionalized this place and had to fight against a lot of people, I guess, because they don't want anyone else besides skateboarders in here.
Mm-hmm.
And now in March this year, like a couple of weeks after Winterclash, they will shut down this whole place until October and change it completely. Because right now it's like a separate BMX course and skateboard course, but it will be one big park at the end of next year, at the end of this year.
Wow,
So is it going to be a whole completely different park? Or
Completely,
they just
yeah,
part? Oh,
completely.
Wow.
Like the whole building will be changed. The stairway is going to be different, and the
So
balconies.
Winterclash 2021 is going to be just like a whole new thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be interesting for next year then.
Yeah.
And what's involved in changing like the layout of the course every year? Because every year you have the sponsors, the major sponsors have their own little ramps and stuff like that. Who's like, do the sponsors decide that? Do you guys decide? They have like a meeting to figure that stuff out? The park involved? What does that go from?
That started in Mühlhausen in the middle of Germany when I think Winterclash 2006 we started, because there was just a plain skateboard course and like a couple of ramps here and there, but nothing to grind on. And then we started to come up with these new obstacles, and that quickly developed into the idea to, like, the goal is every year we want to have obstacles that have never been built before in any skate park ever. That's the general idea, to like make people think out of the box.
It definitely shows.
Yeah. And at the same time we want stuff.
Obstacles this year are really sick.
Yeah, it's always nice because you want everyone to be able to skate it, even the kids. But at the same time you need big stuff, and it should be technical, and there should be lines possible, but also if the park is packed with people, lines are not going to be possible anymore, so you need every ramp to be working on their own as well.
Yeah.
So it's like tricky. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But it's super fun.
Yeah,
to
it
just
seems fun.
Yeah.
Every year having something different at the same place.
And it's really became one of them, not a marketing tool, but it became special because we tried to keep it secret until the last minute. Like if people are coming in the week before, no pictures are allowed.
That's awesome. That makes it exciting. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, we really want the people to come into the building for the first time, have this like wow moment.
Yeah, that's sick. And it's like fair too for like people who are going to compete in it. You know, everyone sees it at the same time.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is that the main reason that you guys come so early? Is to get started on the ramps?
Yeah.
Or there's more that is involved?
Yeah, I know that's it. Like the other part is mostly computer-based stuff.
Yeah.
But of course decoration, like all the snowflakes and preparing the rooms for the trade show and for the panels. But the most part is the ramps. Like some of them are prefabbed by the team from Area 51. But once we get in, like on Sunday night, usually we push everything into the park and then we put it in place, and then we start branding it, and then like the colors, the logos, and also the final touches on the copings and stuff like that. So yeah, and the sponsors don't have a say on the ramps mostly. We just...
So you just pick whatever...
Yeah, I mean we talk to them and try to please them. And
I was gonna ask if it's like more money for like the main ramps or
Yeah, of course, yeah. Grindhouse...
yeah, of course.
Yeah, no, Grindhouse is, I think now the only... No, USD and Grindhouse are the only companies that stuck with us from the very first one in 2005 until now.
So and get the big ramps?
Yeah. No, USD not. USD is never was interested. They do doing the trade show, but Grindhouse really wanted the whole park. And back in the day, they had the whole park. But now we got so many companies asking, and I really feel like we want to... Winterclash is a place where we want to show the whole world of blading, like the whole community and all the companies involved. So the more people are asking, we have to find ways to include them.
Totally.
Like if a new company wants to have a ramp running, we're talking with Grindhouse and see if it's possible and what we're going to do with it. And they're paying less because Grindhouse is having the most obstacles and the main obstacles.
Yeah.
And then there's little side obstacles where a couple of tricks will go down, but not the main stuff.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the trade show. Like we got too many people asking, and we cannot accommodate all of them because the space is too small. And some of the bigger companies who stuck with us for a long time, they are asking for much bigger booths, and they're like, hey, come on, we're with you for so long. But at the same time, it's so important to have new companies being able to come in and not the older ones stealing all their space, more or less, because we want to show the diversity of all the companies and what's in there, what's in blading.
Yeah.
Because where else should it be shown? Like,
of course, yeah. No,
That's
that
awesome.
works out perfectly.
One thing I wanted to touch on, because I know you've been on such a long road from 2005 to here, and you've had years, I've heard, there's been like total losses, and there's been, a lot of people know, I don't know if a lot of people know about the fire, all these things, so I don't know if you wanted to like talk about some of the struggles
Kind of
that
struggles that happen
that
over the
came
years.
in between that you had to go through
Yeah.
all the
it's been-
mishaps throughout the years.
It's like a super long story because there's like, even back in the day when we didn't know what we were doing, like we were not ready to deal with that amount of people. And like when we moved from Aurich, the first Winterclash city, to the second one, Mühlhausen in the middle, you've both been to Mühlhausen,
Yeah.
I believe,
Yeah.
that like the crowd was doubling every year in size. Like from 300 we went to 600, then to 1,200, and I think the last year in Mühlhausen was much more even, like 1.5 or something. But we had no idea about regulations, how to work with all that stuff. We didn't even know how many people were allowed in that building back in the day. And we were far from being ready to deal with that shit. Like we had, things were totally out of control, and we were super lucky that nothing bad happened because we had too many people in the building. And from there we tried to professionalize everything. And the first year where we really wanted to take it to the next level was 2009, when we picked up a new place. We didn't get the permission from the city of Mühlhausen to go there again, because people were
really?
destroying hotel rooms. They were burning
Oh,
cars
wow.
on the street.
Burning cars
So
in
the
the
city
street.
itself blocked.
The city itself decided, like
wow.
it started with all the hotels talking to each other and then telling the city that they would not accommodate people from other countries during that weekend.
Oh shit.
And then the city started to talk to us and to the park, and it's like, okay, you won't get the permission.
Damn.
Like that's
Wow.
it.
Damn, that's crazy.
For good reason. Like I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
the city
makes-
was
it
the city
makes
was too
sense.
small
Yeah.
for that people, and every single hotel room and every even like we had a radio show where we got interviewed, and then the host on the radio, he asked the people of Mühlhausen to call if they had the couch or bed to share and stuff like that. So the whole city was ours more or less, and then of course young people, testosterone, shit went crazy,
Wow.
and people burned cars, destroyed the hotel rooms, threw the
Damn,
TVs out
burned
of the
cars.
window, all that shit. Like a lot of people slept outside, like even during the winter time. Like it went totally out of control. And then when we had to leave, we went to Belgium, St. Nicholas, and that was the first time when we were like, okay, now we're gonna do it proper.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
with everything you have to do. But that went totally wrong because the
In
40
skating fashion, it went totally wrong.
yeah, exactly. It's just like rollerblading. No, like 48 hours, or not even 48 hours, 24 hours, something like that, before the event was supposed to happen. After 2 hours of preparations, like we went there and it was almost an empty building. Like there was some ramps in between, but then we just changed the whole course together with the guy running the park, like cutting. Like it was really DIY fashion, but like, okay, we want to build something special, like cutting a half pipe in half, like in the flat, just cut it, and then you come with a forklift and you push the two pieces of the vert ramp that are now two pieces. You push them around for 2 quarter pipes and build a channel on top of it.
Oh, okay.
Like truly going nuts with
That
the
sounds
skate
like a lot
park.
of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of work, but also so much fun. Like we
Yeah.
built grandstands. Is that the English word? Like where
Yeah.
people sit down? Yeah. Built grandstands out of wood, so everything was ready, and then the whole thing burnt down. No one knows why.
Oh, really? So like no one knew why it burnt down.
The police investigation says that someone did it on purpose, but no one knows who it was in a way. Like it's not official.
Possibly a hate crime from
Wow.
another action sport.
Yeah, there's a lot of rumors going around. I don't know. But yeah, the whole place burned down, and then we ended up here because the week before the one in Belgium, during the preparation week, we came here for a pre-session. There was a pre-session organized by Grindhouse, and we came here. And on my way out, I was joking with the guy who was managing the park back then, and he was like, "Hey, yeah, good luck with Winterclash next year. You're coming here, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, for sure. Gonna call you." Just joking around, and then a week later, I called him like, "Hey, how about tomorrow?" And he was like, "Yeah, let me call you back." And like 10 minutes later or 15 minutes later, he was like, "Yeah, let's do it."
Sick.
And then when we got here, they already built a couple of new ramps, and there was already people here because it all happened while we were on the highway to that park in St. Nicholas from our apartment. Then we got a call like, "Hey, the place burned down." And before we even were there, I took the call to Area 51. Can we change it? And once we got here, the word has been spread, and all the media, back then we had more media, everyone wrote about it, so people were already here, a lot of them.
Yeah.
Because it's not that far, like Belgium and Netherlands are really
Or
close to each
some-
other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it worked out in the end, and we lost a lot of material, and some of it has been refunded by the insurance, but not too much. For example, Sven Burkhost lost a whole ramp. Like he has this ramp set up for shows,
Yeah.
and it got burned in the fire. He just gave it to us for free, and then it was done.
Damn.
But
Oh.
I think insurance took care of it. But that wasn't it was terrible, but like just for me personally, the year after was much more terrible because then we wanted to really show that rollerblading is alive. Like
What did you do for that then?
we decided to go to Berlin and not in a not in a normal skate park, but in an event arena. Like if Metallica is playing in Berlin, not Metallica's maybe too big, but if like a
Like a
10,000
show.
10,000 people capacity venue, but concert venue, like
That's
event
huge, though.
venue. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and we went there and there was no infrastructure at all, and we decided we're gonna build a skate park here. We're gonna go big time. And the motto back then was this time big time. We did posters all over the city, like in the metro, on TV, 4 different radio stations having trailers, 1 week
wow.
long, every half an hour, like did proper promotion. And we were like, okay, let's show everyone that rollerblading is still alive.
Yeah.
And if people will only know and see it, they will like it, of course.
Yeah.
And in the end, all this 1,500 bladers that every year are there, they came, but no one else. Like 2 families from Berlin.
Wow.
And once that happened,
Do you know why? Do you have any like
it's
speculation why
just
that happened?
everything about it was wrong. The idea to make rollerblading famous that way again is not working. Not once, like with one event.
Right.
And also Berlin, people are so spoiled. Like there's concerts, there's events, everything is going on every day. Everything you want is kind of like New York. Like
Yeah.
whatever you want, it
Yeah.
will be there, available every time.
So people are always busy. It's not
Yeah,
like
busy, spoiled, and who wants to see
Spoiled.
rollerblading? You know,
Yeah.
like that's the thing. Like we weren't able to communicate it in a way that people got hyped about it.
Yeah.
We
Wow,
saw
that's
it.
crazy. You did all that work and then nothing happened.
Yeah, I mean, we went super big time. Like in the week before, it was the first time that we hired people, had an office, had to hire a technical director, like all the stuff that
Oh,
you need
wow.
for the regulations. Like it's proper
Really went in.
crazy because
Yeah.
if you do an event in that building, there's so many regulations. It's not like in a skate park. You have
Yeah,
to do
yeah.
everything proper
Yeah.
and by law. And
Was that a Winterclash you tried doing, or this is a completely different event?
that's Winterclash. Winterclash
Winterclash,
2010. Yeah, in 2010. And spent so much money. What did I want to say? Yeah, hired a PR person, hired a technical director, all that stuff. And in the end, yeah, it failed. And I lost more than 100,000 euros.
What?
Not lost them because I didn't have them. It was it was bills that I couldn't pay. Like
Oh,
more like
yeah. Okay. So you were kind of like in debt.
yeah.
Kinda.
So I was 25. I didn't have a company, so it was all in my name. So I'm 100% reliable myself. So I was owning this money to these companies.
Uh-huh.
And I was 25, so I wasn't able to deal with it. Like I didn't know what to do. Like, you know, you're owning this much money to so many
Yeah.
people.
And you were just a kid, 25.
25, no clue. And I didn't open the letters I got, and I didn't react. And kind of, what's the word? Ghosted. And that made everything much worse because, of course, then there's like there's going to be interest, lawsuit,
Right.
all that stuff.
Yeah,
And
collections comes to you.
yeah, at some point I
Knock on
wasn't.
your door. I don't know how they do in
All
Berlin,
that stuff.
but
All that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And at some point I wasn't even allowed to leave the country.
Damn.
All that shit. Like, and then after a while I got there. Like, to okay, I should have asked for help right away, but I didn't.
Yeah.
And then after a while I got back on track, and we did Winterclash again in the year after right away, but in Area 51 again. I think the motto was back to basics then.
Yeah, totally.
That makes sense.
And
Played it safe since then. Now it's been Area
yeah,
51.
playing
since then,
safe, and then
consistently.
step by
relationship
step.
with the park.
Yeah, good relationship with the park. Doesn't matter what management is here. It always worked, and they're really treating us nice. Especially now, like they're super supportive, and they have this organization called eMoves in the Netherlands that pushes extreme sports and action sports, and they're supporting us big time money-wise as well. So really working out great for us, and that was a nice moment realizing, okay, I will be able to pay back the debts with the same event that caused it.
Yeah.
But it took a couple of years to,
Get everything together.
Yeah,
It definitely
and-
takes a while.
yeah, and it's still fucked. Like 2 weeks ago, I don't know that. The problem is for the first 2 years, it probably gets too boring now. But the first 2 years, 4 years after it happened, I didn't do taxes anymore because I was so, in my mind, I was like,
Just didn't
okay.
wanna-
No, I had to deal with the debts, and that was the only thing I could deal with. Like it was so much because it's like per company that you owe money to. There's like the company itself, then there's a lawyer, then there's the interest company, whatever. There's like 4 different parties involved per company. So you're talking to 25 plus people that you owe money to, and I was 25. So I didn't do the taxes, all that stuff. So after 5 years, all the debt stuff was in order, and I had made up agreements of monthly payments, all that stuff. And then the tax stuff hit pretty hard. That's when I did crowdfunding. It was like 4 years ago or something like that. Just saying I did a GoFundMe or something like that, because then the tax stuff hit me like, okay, we want 20,000 euros now. And they just took it from my account, and it was all the money for Winterclash 16 or 15 or something like that.
So that Winterclash that year was completely crowdfunded?
Yeah, more or less. Because the tax office took all the taxes from my account. They just blocked my account, took all the money that was already on it from the ticket sales, from the sponsoring. And then I had to do the crowdfunding. And but back then it was already the case that people were writing comments on the socials like, oh yeah, Jacobi is rich as fuck. He's making so much money with Winterclash, all that stuff. Like because of course if you look at it, like there's 1,000+ people in the skate park. The price is this. Like simple math. You
It
think
doesn't work that way.
yeah, of course it doesn't. But people think. And I was sitting at home and I was like, okay, shit. Like I'm really fucked again. So at least I want to tell that story. I want to tell people I'm not rich, I'm still fucked. And I did that and I wrote this like heartbreaking long letter, and I was like just going to release it, and I was like, okay, maybe I connect it to a crowdfunding. So in the best case, I get 2,000 euros and can pay my rent next week or something. And then in 4 days or something, we reached above 20,000.
Wow.
And it was crazy. Like that was the first time that I really realized how much of a community we created around this event and how much it means to people. And that was pretty intense.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and ever since it happened again, like last week, I got another letter from the tax office, and because I didn't do the taxes for 5 years between 2010 and 2015, I'm now having to do 2 years per year. Like I'm having to do, how to explain
Makes
it?
sense. No, like you got to do the year of,
Yeah,
and then
the year from the
you
back
do
and the one now,
year
and
until
so I'm
season.
still paying like double every year and having to put in double the work every year. So that's why it's still really
affecting you now.
Absolutely, I'm still in debt as well. Like there's taxes I'm still behind with the taxes. This year I will close that circle finally. Like I just paid for the last remaining year, and now I'm like a normal person paying my debts, paying my taxes every year.
Normally?
Yeah.
Nice.
That just happened now with this Winterclash, but the debts are still there. Like there's still 20,000 euros left, a little less than 20,000 euros.
Wow.
But I'm almost. I mean, it came down from 100,000, so. Yeah. So there's
That's
still
good that
a
you're still
lot of
doing this though. Like you would think most people after taking a hit like that, they're like, I'm out. That's it. No
The
more.
thing is, like, I could probably not pay it back ever without an event like Winterclash. With a normal job, I wouldn't be able to pay it back. Like that's the thing, because I'm doing stuff. I'm working on the side on other stuff, and that's how I'm partly paying my rent. But I'm also partly paying my rent by Winterclash. At the same time, I can pay back the debts. So that's worth a lot. Like with a normal job, it wouldn't be possible, because a normal job you do to make a living, and there wouldn't be anything left to pay the debts. So kind of Winterclash is needed as well to get out of the.
Totally.
Are you getting any corporate sponsorship now at all for Winterclash? Or are
We
you
tried.
just
We
completely
tried
over it?
15, 16 years. We tried everything
Every year
we
you
could.
try.
Seriously, we tried everything. Like
What?
from
I'm surprised no one wants to sponsor an event like this.
they don't
What are
care.
the numbers like now? Like how
number
many people?
1,500 people
Every year it's
from
been
60
consistently around
different
1,500.
countries.
Okay.
Yeah, and the years before it has 1,000, a little bit more than 1,000, and now we had 1.5.
Okay.
And the problem is that there's several problems, and we tried really from the very first year we tried, and now that I'm working in the music festival business, I know how sponsoring works, and I know it's not that I'm this kid asking big companies for money. It's like I know exactly how it works. I know how a presentation or a pitch deck has to look like and everything. So it's not that we are doing that part wrong, but it's just not interesting for them. First, it's rollerblading, and a lot of people told us that. Like Red Bull, every year, like the first 5 years we tried Red Bull, like we tried hard. And every year they send me like this grade of Red Bulls, like with 24 Red Bulls, and the letter like, here's a little bit of energy for you to keep on trying.
What?
Like this, like really. A couple of years later, they offered me a job, which I refused then.
What? Well, why did they say keep on trying? Like, did they give you a
No, they were
reason
like, yeah,
why?
sorry, we cannot sponsor it.
Because it's rollerblading?
Rollerblading's not in the budget, but good luck. Keep
It's
on
not
doing
in
your
the
thing.
budget.
Yeah, but then there's so many examples. Like this.
It's like the 24 pack is almost like an insult.
Yeah, that's
Like,
what I'm saying. It's what it is.
Of course,
yeah.
it's an insult
Yeah,
in a
it's
way.
complete
Like it's
insult.
probably the
Yeah.
snowboard dude running the marketing
Yeah,
department
totally.
making jokes of it or something.
course, yeah.
But there's been like, do you know aspirin? There's like this is for headaches.
Aspirin, yeah.
Aspirin,
Aspirin,
yeah.
yeah.
We were in touch with Aspirin, and we got pretty close of having them as our main sponsor in 2007 or 8, and then they already confirmed, but we didn't sign a contract yet. And then a couple of weeks before the event, or 2 months before the event, they sent us, sorry, we just redid our budget for next year and not going to do any sports marketing at all, sorry. I was like, okay, bummer.
Damn.
And then 2 weeks after Winterclash, I saw a video of the sandboarding World Championships, and Aspirin was their main sponsor.
No.
So they thought it's cooler that people going down a sand hill, a sand dune on a snowboard is cooler than rollerblading. So that kind of puts things in perspective.
Wow.
And that's what we had to deal with all the time. And then a lot of companies are also saying like, it's in the Netherlands, so you have to talk to the Netherlands department of that company. Then you talk to the Netherlands department, and they're like, oh, but it's 60 countries coming, so you should talk to the European. And the Europeans are like, talk to Worldwide, and then they send it back to the Netherlands. So no one is really, because no one wants to give their budget why would they give their budget to, why would the Dutch marketing department give the Dutch budget to an event like this?
I know there's people from all these different countries, but even like local businesses or something like that in Eindhoven itself.
We tried.
The biggest thing in the city, except for the football games that probably happen here,
Yeah, we tried so many times, but a couple of years ago we decided that, it's not that we decided it, but we realized something very important, and it's the bummer that we didn't do that before, is that Winterclash is not supposed to be this event. Like, it's not supposed to be corporate cars in the skate park to jump over branding event. It's as core scene as it gets. It's not the fees, it's not Olympia, it's not the World Championships or something. It's like as DIY as it gets. And once we realized that, it was so much more, it became much more fun again, because you're not trying, you're just, now we are, like we are what we are. And why should we try hard to involve someone who doesn't understand it anyways.
Totally.
And the good part is, with the ticket prices and the sponsors that we have, we are making a lot of money that we can use on the event. It's not that we need that corporate sponsorship anymore, like now that it's so strong since a couple of years. Would be nice, but at the same time, if you have that, you have to work with them. Like, you have to make them happy. And I really don't want to please any car company, because the only ones that should be pleased are our guests and the brands. Like, why not invest all that energy into presenting the brands that are in blading in a better light? Who've been there for years. Like, create a better trade show area, or give them better ramp branding, or just showing what we have, instead of getting someone from outside in who wants to throw a little bit of money once, but taking so much effort to please them, because their contracts are crazy and they want all the branding to be correct, and then you spend so much time and energy for money that we now don't need anymore. I mean, of course we would need more money. It would be nice to be able to fly in everyone and everything, but we just raised the ticket price this year for the first time, from 40 years to 55 years. And that's like, it's a lot of money, and we can do a lot of stuff with it. So realize, like, it's much more healthy to grow step by step and use that money wisely, instead of using so much energy to get outside people in. It's the same with media. Like, every once in a while there's local media asking, or German media, or any media company like TV, whatever, to come in here and film. And of course everyone would think like, of course we need that TV coverage. But that TV coverage sucks. Like, if they do it, it sucks. They're going to show us in the wrong way. And for me, it means I have to take care that they're getting around here safely, because they have no clue how people are moving. There's so much movement in the park. There's so much chaos.
It just adds one more.
Exactly. And it's dangerous for them, and it's not going to look good in the end anyways. So
it's not even worth it.
Yeah. So I just had that situation. Like, there's this thing called Tigerentenclub. It's like this super famous kids show in Germany, like super, super big and super famous.
What's it called?
A Tigerentenclub. Okay. It's like this yellow duck, wooden duck. It's really famous. But and they wanted to do a show, and I was like, to be honest, Ed, you can come here if you want to, and I will put someone by your side to guide you around. But I would much more prefer to send you footage afterwards, and you can meet German bladers in their hometown, and film them there for the practice and afterwards and stuff like that. It makes much more sense than you in the chaos being totally overwhelmed and not sure what to film and stuff like that.
They don't know what's going on. They don't know the format or anything like that.
Yeah. So you would, like, of course you would think like Winterclash is so sick and you need to show it to the outside world. But I think much more important than that is to make it as sick as possible for everyone from inside the scene, because that's where everyone gets their inspiration from. That's where the brands get their inspiration from for coming years to maybe stay in the scene, because for one weekend they're actually selling so much stuff, and they're meeting so many people, and they get so much input which they don't get over the year. Like over the year,
for the brands.
For the brands, and then for the people. Like there's people who are saving up money 3 to 4 years to come here, or there's people from South America where the whole village puts money on one guy. on one guy to come here. Like guys wearing T-shirts where it's like the local car company, the local bakery, and everyone puts money for that one person to come here once. So I think that should be much
amazing.
more. That should be the main
That's not
focus.
that was
Like,
happening.
yeah. Well, there's people from Libya. A guy from Libya a couple of years ago. Libya. He was only he was only allowed to come here together with the sports minister of Libya. Otherwise, he wasn't allowed to leave.
What?
Wow.
So there's so much effort in it. The guy came and they gave me like this official wooden plate from the government. Like the guy from the sports minister brought this like wooden framed thing where it said like in funny English like "thank you for do" in sport or something like that. Like funny English, but it was an appreciation from them, from the freaking government.
Yeah.
And the guy was allowed to come here and stuff like that. So that's all of that should be the only focus we have. Like we should make it as good as possible for all these people, instead of some outside, or instead of trying so hard, which we did anyways, to please other people, to make everyone on the street understand how sick blading is.
Totally.
Because the most important is that we are happy with us, and if we are confident about blading, we will be able to spread it to other people outside as well. But this should be the place where we celebrate ourselves in a way.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Sounds cheesy, but
No,
like,
that's really cool. I like that.
I was going to ask what your like mantra behind Winterclash was, but I guess you just explained all of that right there.
Yeah.
Better than I could have imagined.
After 15 years, do you have it down to a science now?
I'm
Excuse me,
sorry.
2 minutes.
After 15 years, do you have it down to a science now, or
A demo science? Re-science? Oh, you mean
do you
stepping
have
back? Or?
like the formula down to make the event, or are there always like unforeseen?
There's
things,
always
like,
unforeseen stuff. Like
still 15 years later, there's still like all these things popping up.
Yeah, it's like weird.
I think by now you'd be like,
Nah, it's because we keep it interesting for ourselves as well. Like we, with the panels and the talks and the workshops, that all started
That's
2
really
years
cool.
ago now.
Yeah.
Like, and that added something totally different because now so many older people are coming back because they want to see their childhood heroes. They want to see Arlo. They want to see you guys doing a live show. Like all that stuff just has been added 3 years ago because it got boring for us as well. Like, okay, it's only the competition, so what else can we add?
yeah, full event.
Yeah, full-on event, but also using Winterclash as a platform to showcase everything that rollerblading has to offer. Like there's so many secret heroes, like people in Romania or Malaysia that are running a skate shop or doing events that no one even knows about. And we want to have a place where we showcase all the work of everyone, but also get everyone together so they can be inspired and take that to their own country and do good stuff there as well.
Yeah. See, that would be awesome. Like even if you're talking about the guy from like Libya who came with like the sports minister, like making that like platform, like getting that story told, things like that.
And no one knows. Like everyone is talking about Europe and the States.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about South America and maybe Russia. But there's so much stuff going on in every country, and there's local heroes in every country that dedicated their life to blading. And I think we should showcase that. Like for the future, that's what we want for the future. Even more like Winterclash being a platform for everyone and everything that's happening in blading. That's a big goal, but on the other hand, everyone is here, so why not make use of it?
Yeah, totally.
Were there any other stories like that about like the guy from Libya? Like any other crazy stories you heard from people in other countries trying to get over it?
There's one really funny one. It's called a guy, Beethoven Pitanga. Shout out Beethoven Pitanga. He's
I like that name.
Yeah, he's at 2008.
Yeah.
I think you've been there even. 2007, we had this huge, from quarter pipe to quarter pipe, this huge house, this huge building, with Grindbox, where I think Note and Bailey battled on that one. Yeah. And there was a guy from Brazil who came, and I think he told me the story that his village put money into it as well, but only for the one-way ride, because they were assuming there's a chance he's going to win, because he's a local hero, and of course he's going to win the competition, so they put a one-way ticket, and with the prize money he was supposed to fly way back home. I'm not sure if that's story true, but he told me, and other people told me as well. But of course, he didn't win the competition, but he won the best slam award because he did.
That was the guy jumping off
box,
the tank
jumping on the curb, landing.
What did he do?
Did you win money from that?
No, only
Oh,
a
okay.
trophy.
So-
But
okay.
the trophy.
Yeah, but
Jumped
you won
from
money from that.
from this huge grind box.
It was like 20 feet, onto this, like another like 10 feet onto this down box. Well, he tried like solo it and just completely just split it like.
Split his ass.
Yeah.
But then even years later, he was still in Europe. Like he never went back home. Like he
Why
was
you couldn't
living
get back home?
for in the beginning, maybe then.
They
but
probably
then,
couldn't take him back.
yeah, I don't know. Like I mean, he was living under.
Didn't want to go face the shame.
Oh my
Is that messed up
god!
to
But
say?
if you're gonna win the contest, you want best slam.
Yeah, but
my
there's
God.
so many. Like every once in a while, another story pops out about him. Like he was living underneath the world ramp of Nel Martin in Spain for a while.
What?
Then he was working for Cirque du Soleil. I believe he came to Winterclash 2014 and showed me this video of Cirque du Soleil or something like that. And now Dominic Wagner just got, or someone else met him in China, where he opened a restaurant.
What?
So it's like this crazy story, but it all started at Winterclash like this. And there's a lot of stories like that, like a lot of fun and crazy moments.
That's the
And
beauty of this event and having all these people from different parts of the world, different
and
walks
it's
of
the
life.
most important to realize or to not forget about, like how much effort people are taking to come here. Like for some of us it's easier or harder but still doable. But some are really saving up money for so long. And also a lot of my work up front is paperwork to write invitations and stuff so they can get their visa. So they're allowed to leave the countries because they're simply not allowed to leave the countries.
Totally.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of.
I know like Boris Gastner and like a lot of the Russian guys, like they wanted to come for a while and they were able to come 1 year.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not as easy to.
Or some of the Chinese guys, like there was a group of 7 Chinese people, and they just texted me from Hong Kong, and they weren't allowed to leave the country now because of the virus.
Oh yeah.
So like there's these little things, like they're looking forward to it for so long, and then shit gets fucked.
Yeah. Isn't that we take it for granted sometimes?
Exactly.
We go to these events.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for people who try to create events in their hometown, stuff like that? It seems like you run probably the most successful skate contest in blading, and I feel like people could learn a lot from your experiences and what you told before, but is there anything specific that you would advise people on doing to spread these events and contests in their hometowns or areas?
Or what to not do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to not do. The most
Yeah, we know
important
to not do.
Yeah, open your letters if you get them. React to stuff happening.
Yeah. Deal with it.
Yeah, deal with it. Yeah. No, but the most, I think, when we started the small re-street events in our hometown, we were thinking about how to make it a special day for everyone. It's not like we're going to do a competition, we're going to put a prize money on it, and then it will automatically be the greatest event ever. It's about creating moments for people, and you've got to think about it. Like, it's the small things, like we bought water ice, like small sticks, like just colored
Like colored,
ice,
yeah.
Water ice stuff, and gave it out to everyone. And then our friends, they made sandwiches and maybe a salad, and then in the second or third spot someone came and gave it to other riders. And everyone was like, oh, I haven't done that, or I haven't seen that at a re-street event. It's just like take attention to the details and try to create a special day for people, not just like, okay, here's the spot, go and skate. Like do something where people remember and talk about. And that's what we did from the very beginning, also with video premieres, and just walk that extra meter, otherwise don't do it. Like that's my advice.
Go all in.
I guess. Yeah, go all in and think about how can I make this special for people. And treat the people that come into your event as your guests and not as your enemy. Like, and understand that they're taking an effort to go there. So you should take an effort to make it nice for them.
Yeah.
Like that's the main advice I would say.
That's true. I never thought about that aspect of it. You know, people are going out of their way. Some people, whether it's local too, people still drive a couple hours for skate events. You know, they're taking the time of their day to drive all these hours to your event. You know, paying the gas and all that stuff, and then you know you might as well treat them the best they can be.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you want to have an event running successful.
Yeah.
Like, just treat your
And
riders
keep doing it
nicely.
every year, so people keep coming back. You know.
Yeah, and don't sleep on it. Like it happened to us. Like since between 2012 and 15, we got kind of bored, and it was always the same. Like I mean, the ramps are new every year, but we got bored in a way of like, okay, how long are we still? Do we still want to do it? Because everyone in the team is getting old as well, and like every year they take 1 or 2 weeks of their yearly holiday, which is like only 20 days or 24 days. They take it to work here. So we're starting to question that. Does it make sense? How long do we want to make it run? And then we did. Okay, we started with the panels. What I told you before, like. Think about what can we do with it. Like if we invite Arlo and he speaks to people, it's going to be special. And if you have Arlo, Happy, and Julio sitting on one stage, it's going to be special. If you guys are doing live podcasts, it's going to be something different and special for people. And that really, really changed us for ourselves. Like now we are ready. Now we are thinking ahead because now so many doors open up. There's so many more people you can invite who've never been, and people want to see. Like be it Randy Spicer, Louis Amore, or whatever. All of them never been here.
Yeah.
And then also, now that with the higher ticket price, we have much more budget to work with. Like we can, if people cannot afford to come here, we can at least chip in a little bit but also we can sponsor smaller events who need some prices, and the companies are only sending the extra large T-shirt from 1999, so we can at least throw in a couple of Winterclash tickets, or maybe in the future even €150 for a flight or something like that. Like just thinking out of the box, like how can we use the money that Winterclash generates to
make it better,
make blading better, to help other people doing their shit. And that once we realize that, we are super excited now. Like now, every evening after we come home, like from here, we're building until 9 or 10 every evening. Then we go back home. Mostly, I'm sitting in the hot tub because I'm a fan of warm water, and everyone else standing around.
We were talking about that.
Yeah, and then everyone we're standing around, like outside in the cold, freezing. I'm in the hot tub, and then smoking cigarettes and drinking beer, and then fantasizing about shit we could do, and it's like, okay, we could do this and this, and like so. There's so many ideas coming in that I feel like, okay, we are. Actually, after 16 years, we're still just getting started.
Still excited.
And that's a super nice feeling to have, because a couple of years ago, it really felt like we're done. And we're out of ideas.
It sounds like it from the story. That's why it's amazing to hear that you're still doing this and doing
It's so much fun. Like, it's just so much fun, so many opportunities. Because I'm still a skate kid. Like I can invite I'm not skating myself anymore that much. Like twice a year or something, I lost the fun in that. But I'm still as excited about blading itself, or like now we are able to invite our childhood heroes to come and talk and tell their stories, and that's why so many older people are coming back now. Like I think this is the year where the most people that don't skate anymore, but they're bringing their friends again because they have the opportunity to see Fabiola or Aragon or like all their childhood heroes.
Yeah.
And that really changed the dynamics of the event, because now it's not just kids, the parents and a couple of skaters who are still skating. Now it's everyone who was ever involved in the blading culture. For them it's interesting now. Even if it's just a 1 weekend of your arrival, it's really interesting for them to go. So
that's awesome. Well, I don't want to keep you for too long. I know you're super duper busy.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you real quick, I was curious, did you ever compete in one of the Winterclashes? Like,
No.
you couldn't, right?
Never.
In the early days, did you ever want to? Like, damn, this is going off. I want to get in there.
I was hosting the first one and the second one, I believe, but there was too much already.
Yeah, okay.
Compete this year. Compete this year. Ski three
I
times a year now.
really, I'm not like that. The attention would be too much, to be honest. Like that, I just don't like it.
Everyone will lose their shit over that.
Yeah, exactly. That would be the first moment ever for me. Like that.
Yeah, yo, it's good.
You should do it just to get that feeling once.
Yeah.
You get on the course and everyone's like, ah! Beers thrown all over the place.
He's the man behind the curtain.
Yeah.
He wants to.
Yeah, but I went to Ram Jam last year. That's a competition in Denmark, and I competed there just because I wanted to see if I can still do it. It was really a funny experience. Like I barely made it through the first heat. Like my legs, I don't have muscles anymore. And then I was like, yeah, I did it. I finished my run, and then took a beer, and then the organizer came like, hey, you made it to the finals. I'm like,
and you're like,
can't even walk anymore. And then
that was the finals for me.
Yeah, but then I was like, okay, I will definitely not be able to have another heat in the finals, but I could try. I'd rather give my spot to someone else, or I try one trick. And everyone's making fun of me because I'm always, like my whole career, based on time grinds and soul stalls, like somewhere really high up.
I remember soul stall.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, then I just try this trick and see if I still got it. And then for the whole heat, I tried this one trick, and then I won the best trick after not skating for 1 year. So I felt really good.
Yeah, that's nice.
But I think I got this how you say? Everyone in the building knew, okay, we're gonna give it to this old guy. Because there was like Joe was there, David was there, Queenie was there, and then I beat them, you know? So actually, on paper, I'm better than them.
Yeah, you got
I think it was really like, okay, here it is. Come on.
Oh, that's awesome. I gotta take a look at that. Add some edits for that.
That's happy to go. That makes you feel like a little more happy about that aspect of your skating life rather than just like being in the background and stuff, you know?
Yeah, it's more like, last night we had a spontaneous session with Gabriel Heiden and Carsten Boyd. Just they were skating the BMX park, and on the way to the office, on the way home, I was like, okay, I'm gonna touch then step up once. And then we had like this 5 minutes or 10 minute session, and that's enough for me these days. I don't know why I'm not having fun that much anymore.
Because he likes her. That's because he likes her.
Yeah,
you gotta get your legs moving again.
But I'm as excited as before, just the blading part itself.
Yeah, it sounds like to me, it's like it's evolved. Like you still have the love for blading,
you're a fan.
and
You're a fan
just making it, contributing in different ways.
My blading is sitting on the computer, like
Yeah.
It's like I'm as excited. Like if
Yeah.
I'm going to the office in the morning, I'm as excited as I was back in the day in plating.
It has to be exciting to make an event where so many people show up and all these reconnections. It's like a huge reunion as well, and
For a
an exciting
while-
event. It's like it's so many things now.
Yeah. For a while, I was trying to figure out, okay, this bad thing. Like I'm not plating anymore, and why is that? And I felt bad about it and tried to figure out. And then at some point, I was just like, okay, maybe it's best to accept it. And it's okay, like I don't have to force myself to blade. Like it's just, I'm still a blader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's once I realized it was like,
It's awesome.
yeah.
Well, hell yeah.
Well, I know you got to go soon. You know, you're very busy. I just
Yes.
want to say,
Thank you for taking the time.
yes, we appreciate it. I just want to say, from me, like from my experiences here, I just want to, especially after hearing all the crazy stories that happened the past 10 years with organizing this and you going to bed and all this crazy stuff, like thanks for keeping this going every year. And anybody who hasn't come, like you have to come here. I remember last year was the first time I came in like 10 years or over 10 years, and there was like a feeling I got that I can't really explain,
No, last year
but you
was
only
insane,
experience it by being here, and it'll change like your whole outlook on skating. If you're ever like bummed out or anything like that, you got to come to Winterclash, and you'll skate the rest of the year easy. Like it just motivates you so much. And when you were like the award ceremony last year, like I felt like I wanted to cry, like watching like everybody up there. Like it was such an amazing thing to see. Is there anything that you want to tell people to let them know if they haven't come yet?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds stupid to say take the effort because it's a lot of money and a lot of effort. But on the other hand, yeah, we're going to continue for 4 more years at least, or more probably.
Effort is worth it.
Yeah, it's worth it, and we're going to try our best to make it special. And if you're already in the building, the award ceremony this year will be special again. So
Oh.
we got something planned.
Damn. Okay. All right. I can't wait for that then.
Very cool.
Thank you very much for having me. And
Thank you.
for
Thanks for
doing
coming
what
out.
you're doing.
Thanks for
Great
coming
inspiration.
out. Thank you so much. We
Yeah.
appreciate that too. Anything else
Thanks.
that you wanted to?
No, I was gonna say, like, this is like the one time we could say thanks for having us.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate that too.
All right.
Hey, yo. Everybody watching the live stream too, stay tuned. We got a bunch more coming
Yeah,
out
we got a
later
bunch more
today.
coming.
Stay tuned. Peace, everybody.